California, June 10th, 1991. A day like any other for 11-year-old Jaycee Lee Dugard. Dressed in her favorite pink outfit, she walked to her school bus stop, humming a tune. Her town of Myers was considered safe, an ideal place for families to settle down. But that peaceful illusion shattered in an instant. A gray car pulled up, and a man inside rolled down the window. Believing he needed directions, Jaycee approached. Within seconds, her life changed forever. A stun gun struck her small frame, and before she could cry out, she was thrown into the car. The tranquil streets bore witness to an unimaginable crime. From his driveway, Carl Probin, Jaycee's stepfather, saw the horror unfold. He sprinted after the speeding car, shouting for help, but it vanished in the distance. Desperation filled his chest as he called the police, giving them every detail he could remember. Authorities arrived quickly, scouring the area with helicopters and search dogs. Flyers with Jaycee's picture blanketed the town. Pink ribbons, her favorite color, adorned trees and poles, symbolizing hope. Despite the community's immense efforts, Jaycee seemed to have vanished into thin air. Jaycee's captors, Phillip and Nancy Garrido, were anything but ordinary. Phillip, a convicted sexual offender, had a twisted past marked by violence and manipulation. Nancy, his devoted wife, enabled his horrific acts, seemingly blind to their immorality. The pair brought Jaycee to their home in Antioch, California, over 180 kilometers away. She was imprisoned in a makeshift soundproof shed in their backyard. This dilapidated structure, hidden from view, became Jaycee's new reality. One of darkness, silence, and isolation. Jaycee awoke in total darkness, her hands bound and her mind racing. She was inside a soundproof shed littered with trash and broken objects. Her captor, Phillip, told her she would never see her family again, a statement meant to break her spirit. Every noise, every creak of the shed's walls filled her with dread. Phillip gave her a bucket for basic needs and minimal food, enough to keep her alive but miserable. He forbade her from saying her real name, stripping away even her identity. These early days were filled with fear, hunger, and confusion, as Jaycee struggled to understand why this nightmare had befallen her. Phillip Garrido was not just a violent man, he was a master manipulator. Over the weeks, he began to talk to Jaycee about his bizarre beliefs, claiming he could hear voices from God. He forced her to listen to his ramblings, attempting to brainwash her into submission. He alternated between moments of twisted kindness, bringing her a small treat, and terrifying displays of control, ensuring she lived in constant fear. Nancy, his wife, played along, pretending to be a caring figure while enabling Phillip's abuses. Jaycee's sense of reality began to distort under their oppressive control. By 1994, Jaycee was just 14 years old, but her body had been forced to bear the consequences of Phillip's monstrous actions. She discovered she was pregnant. Terrified and unprepared, she relied on information from television shows to learn how to care for herself. Phillip refused to take her to the hospital, insisting she deliver the baby at home. On a hot August day, Jaycee gave birth to her first daughter alone, with only Phillip and Nancy present. Despite her fear, she felt a glimmer of joy. This child would be her companion in a world of isolation. Jaycee's strength emerged as she became a loving and devoted mother, despite the horrific circumstances. 3 years later, Jaycee became pregnant again. Her second daughter was born in 1997, bringing more life to the confined world she shared with her captors. Phillip allowed Jaycee to move into a larger tent in the backyard to accommodate the children. These girls became her reason to survive. Jaycee devoted herself to their care, teaching them with whatever knowledge she could glean from television. But Phillip continued to control every aspect of their lives, ensuring that even the children believed Nancy was their mother and Jaycee was simply their older sister. Over the years, neighbors occasionally saw strange sights in the Garridos' backyard: tents, tarps, and children playing. A neighbor once called the police, reporting that children seemed to live there despite Phillip's criminal history. A police officer visited but left without investigating further. In another instance, emergency services were called when a child in the Garrido home was reportedly injured, but no follow-up occurred. These missed opportunities allowed Phillip to maintain his twisted control over Jaycee and her daughters for years. The authorities' negligence became a dark chapter in this story of survival. In August 2009, Phillip brought his two daughters, who are now teenagers, to a University of California campus to distribute religious pamphlets. Campus officers noticed the girls' odd behavior. They avoided eye contact, stayed silent, and seemed unnaturally submissive to Phillip. Lisa Campbell, the campus police officer, felt uneasy. Phillip's erratic speech and the girl's demeanor raised alarm bells. She ran a background check on him, discovering his history of sexual offenses. This prompted her to involve parole officers and further investigate the family. On August 26, 2009, Jaycee and her two daughters were summoned to a parole office. Phillip claimed Jaycee was Elisa, the children's mother, and that they lived harmoniously as a family. But as investigators pressed for details, inconsistencies in the story surfaced. Jaycee, nervous and defensive, struggled to maintain Phillip's fabricated tale. When police demanded her real name, she hesitated, her hands trembling. Finally, after 18 years of captivity, she uttered the words, "My name is Jaycee Dugard." The truth shattered years of deception, and her captors were immediately arrested. News of Jaycee's rescue spread like wildfire. Her mother, Terry, received the call she had prayed for every day for 18 years. Tears streamed down her face as she prepared to meet her long-lost daughter. When they finally embraced, Jaycee clung to her mother, sobbing uncontrollably. The reunion was bittersweet. Terry marveled at Jaycee's resilience while grieving the years they had lost. Jaycee's stepfather, Carl, was relieved to see her alive, ending years of suspicion that he was involved in her abduction. Their reunion marked the beginning of Jaycee's journey back to normalcy. When authorities searched the Garrido's property, they uncovered the unimaginable. The backyard was a nightmare. 2 makeshift tents, piles of trash, and a small soundproof shed where Jaycee had spent years of her life. The shed contained only a thin mattress and a bucket. The investigators were stunned by the inhumane conditions Jaycee and her daughters endured. One officer remarked, "It's hard to believe someone could survive here." The discovery cemented the Garrido's guilt and painted a vivid picture of the suffering Jaycee had endured for 18 years. Phillip and Nancy Garrido faced 29 felony charges, including kidnapping, rape, and false imprisonment. In court, Phillip initially denied the accusations, but eventually pleaded guilty when overwhelming evidence was presented. Nancy attempted to shift blame to Phillip but was found equally complicit. On June 2, 2011, Phillip was sentenced to 431 years to life, and Nancy received 36 years to life. The verdict brought closure to Jaycee's ordeal, symbolizing justice served after nearly 2 decades of unimaginable suffering. Jaycee's rescue was a testament to her mother Terry's unwavering faith. Over 18 years, Terry never stopped searching for her daughter. She distributed over 1 million missing person flyers, appeared on television shows, and founded the Jaycee Hope Foundation. Her determination inspired a nation, reminding the world of the enduring power of hope and love. When asked how she endured, Terry said, "I knew she was alive. A mother just knows." Returning to freedom was not easy for Jaycee. After years of isolation, she struggled to reintegrate into society. Therapy became a vital part of her recovery, helping her heal from the trauma. Jaycee also focused on building a strong bond with her daughters, who had only known the restricted life under Phillip's control. Slowly, she learned to embrace her identity again, reclaiming the name that had been stolen from her. In 2010, Jaycee established the Jaycee Foundation to support families who have endured trauma. Her story became a beacon of hope for survivors of kidnapping and abuse worldwide. Through public speaking and writing, Jaycee encouraged others to find strength in their darkest moments. Her memoir, A Stolen Life, became a bestseller, shedding light on her experience and inspiring countless readers. As years passed, Jaycee found herself embracing life again. She worked on rebuilding relationships with her family and experiencing milestones she had missed, like learning to drive and traveling. Her daughters, now free from captivity, began to thrive in the outside world. Jaycee's resilience and courage became a source of strength for her family and a symbol of hope for others. While the scars of her past remained, Jaycee refused to let them define her future. Jaycee and her family pursued legal action against the authorities whose negligence allowed Phillip to continue his crimes. In 2010, the state of California awarded Jaycee a $20 million settlement for their failure to monitor Phillip properly. However, the family's lawsuit against federal agencies was dismissed. Despite the legal setbacks, Jaycee's case highlighted systemic flaws in parole monitoring, sparking reforms to prevent such tragedies from happening again. Jaycee often shares a simple yet profound message: never give up hope. Her story is a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the unbreakable bond of family love. Through her second memoir, Freedom, My Book of Firsts, published in 2016, Jaycee reflects on her journey to rediscover herself. She hopes her words inspire others to overcome adversity and cherish their freedom. Her resilience stands as a reminder that even in the darkest of times, light can be found. Today, Jaycee lives a quiet but fulfilling life, focusing on raising her daughters and advocating for survivors of trauma. Her story has not only changed her own life, but also inspired reforms and greater awareness about kidnapping and abuse. The Jaycee Foundation continues to support families, ensuring her legacy of resilience and hope lives on. Jaycee's incredible journey reminds us all that even in the face of unimaginable cruelty, the human spirit can endure and triumph.